recording that interferes or disrupts business or gets to the point where it's going to potentially jeopardize somebody's personal information. We put a process in place where if somebody in the free press would like to come and do any type of video recording, we will make sure that happens, and we will have to plan accordingly. Due to the fact we see 50 to 60,000 people in our offices, and it's a constant turnover, it is very prudent of us, in my opinion, to make sure that we have a pathway for people to come in and video record for free press purposes, but it must be planned in order for us to uphold our side of keeping people's information private and keeping the business transacting.
So in addition to maintaining the orderly business of the office, you adopted the policy in part to assist you in complying with federal law, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you testified essentially the policy requires prior approval before somebody can record in your office, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And does your policy allow video recording outside the four walls of the office?
It does.
Is that restricted in any manner?
I believe it's 200 feet is what the policy speaks to, and that's for the safety of the individual recording, since our operations extend outside of our four walls when we come to road testing, administering road tests for people trying to get their driver's license.
And do you make that full policy available for members of the public to view?
Yes, sir.
Where can they view it?
They can view it online on our website, or it is also posted in our offices.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's pre-marked for identification purposes. This county's Exhibit F. If you could just take a look at that. Do you recognize that?
I do, sir.
And what is it?
This is our video photography and recording policy.
Okay. At this time, the county would seek to introduce Exhibit F into evidence as we're up to 6. 5.
This would be admitted as count as 6.
Okay. So you testified that that policy is available online as well as posted in your office?
Yes, sir.
Would that policy have been posted in your office inside your lobby in Land O'Lakes on May 31st of 2023?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you also have a sign in the exterior of your office that is a shortened recitation of the policy?
Yes, sir.
And is that to put members of the public on notice as they're coming into the building?
Yes, sir. The goal of that is to make sure that the public understands that we're going to make every effort possible to make sure we're keeping their information private.
Show you what's been pre-marked for identification purposes as County Exhibit G. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
This is our posted policy outside of our office preventing photography, video, and audio recording.
Okay, and is that the policy as it would have been posted and appeared that day?
I believe so, yes.
The county would seek to move Exhibit G into evidence of Exhibit 7.
It would be admitted as count as 7.
And Mr. Flynn was asking questions. That sign that's outside your office, you've changed the language since that date, May 31st?
Yeah, yes, sir.
But the version that was posted on that day, the version that's in evidence, that actually cites to USC 2721, correct?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And is that the federal statute you referenced earlier that prohibits the release of certain personal information?
Yes, that's the Driver License Privacy and Protection Act, sir.
And this is the type of information that you referenced that your office deals with on a daily basis?
Yes, sir.
So the policy that you had in place at that time and still have in place today, as you testified already, was it in part to help you assist you in complying with that statute?
It was, yes.
Okay. And the appellant in this case, Mr. Filax, are you familiar with him?
I am sure, yes.
When did you first become familiar with him?
Mr. Filax and I had a brief interaction before the May 30th date in order for him to attempt to serve me with some paperwork as a cease and desist order regarding an associate of his, Mr. Hoffman, and some of his efforts in recording, or trying to record in our office, and recording for that matter.
So that prior occasion with Mr. Filax, that was in your office?
Yes, it began outside of the doors of our office and then moved into our lobby. It was very brief.
And the video recording within your office by certain individuals, had it been an ongoing issue prior to May 30th of 2023?
It's actually been an issue for quite a few years off and on, sir.
I want to draw your attention to that date, to May 30th. How and when did you first learn that there was an incident?
I was returning from lunch at approximately 1:30, I think it was 1:35, 1:38, somewhere in there. I received a call from one of our supervisors, Harrison Flynn. He then informed me that the video recorders were back in our office working.
So you returned to the office upon receiving that information?
I did, yes, sir. I was literally 2 minutes away.
And when you returned to the office, what are your observations?
So when I returned to the office, I went out into the common area to confirm what Mr. Harrison Flynn had told me. And then after confirming that the two gentlemen were there, Mr. Huffman and Mr. Filax, I then went back to my office and after interacting, I believe I may have either called Mr. Flynn or Deborah and just confirmed a couple things, making sure that our office had ceased doing operations to make sure we keep everyone's information private and protected. And then I proceeded to, at my desk, using our video recording system to take a look and see whether or not business was being disrupted, and it indeed was.
Okay. So both on your in-person observations in the lobby as well as in the video surveillance, were you able to observe that Mr. Filax was recording?
Yes.
And based on what you observed, did those actions constitute a violation of your video recording policy that is posted at the office?
Yes, sir.
And you testified that it disrupted business operations that day. How so?
It disrupted business operations with our gatekeeper from ingress and egress in and out of those spaces in the office. And it also, anytime a video recording device is presented very close to even the potential, private or personal information, our policy is to cease business in order to make sure that that information is not compromised.
So based on what you had observed up until that point, did you ultimately call the Pasco Sheriff's Office to initiate a public trespass proceeding?
I did, sir.
And did deputies from the Sheriff's Office arrive at your Wayne Lakes location?
They did, sir.
And as part of that process, did you give them a formal letter of trespass?
I did.
Was that letter intended to initiate a public trespass proceeding?
It was, sir.
And the decision to request that trespass, was that based on the fact that there had been disruption to business that day, as well as prior interactions with the appellant with video recording?
Yes, sir.
And was it based on the harm suffered to the tax collector's office as a result of his actions?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, I'm going to approach you with what's been marked for identification purposes as County Exhibit H. Do you recognize that?
I do.
How do you recognize it?
I'm sorry, sir.
How do you recognize it?
This is the document I produced in order to present to the deputies to have Mr. Filax trespass that day.
And this is, to be clear, separate from the formal trespass warning that the Sheriff's Office actually issues. This is a letter you give to initiate that process.
That is correct, sir.
At this time, the county would seek to introduce Exhibit H and evidence as Exhibit 8.
This will be admitted as County Z.
Did you also give a written and verbal statement to the deputies?
I did, sir.
And did you advise them that the appellant had violated your posted policy and that you requested them to issue a trespass warrant?
Yes, sir.
No further questions from the county?
Mr. Coed, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Not so good. I feel like my rights were violated, but that's neither here nor there. Did you swear an oath to the Constitution when you took this job?
Yes.
Do you believe that any and all policies created by the tax collector's office have to be constitutional first and foremost?
All policies in the land should be, sir.
I cannot hear you.
I'm sorry. I believe all policies in the land should fall under that.
So you're saying all policies in this country should be constitutional?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know the 5 elements of the First Amendment?
I'm sorry?
Do you know the 5 elements of the First Amendment?
Not off the top.
Do you know any of them?
Sure.
Can you name one?
Freedom of speech.
Speech,
Press, freedom of assembly.
press, assembly, okay. Religion,
Absolutely.
right to redress, government is the 5th one. You agree with that?
I'm not in a position to say whether I do or not at the moment. I do support the Constitution, however.
How do you know me?
Our first interaction, I don't remember the date, sir, but you came and asked for me specifically to serve me with a cease and desist order based on actions of your associate, Mr. Huffman.
Well, it's not my associate, but okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it was on his behalf then. So I apologize if I didn't.
Well, it's on everyone's behalf, the Constitution and the people. That's why I was serving the order.
It was addressed to him, though, right?
No, it was addressed to you.
I'm sorry, but it was based on the actions of him, yes, sir?
It was based on your actions.
In interacting with him,
Well, you trespassed someone for recording in public.
okay?
Okay, did I provide relevant case law and a cease and desist order to you?
I'm not an attorney, sir.
Did I provide a cease and desist letter to you?
You did.
What are some of the things that were in there?
I don't recall, sir.
Did you read the cease? Sorry?
Objects are relevant. He's asking about a prior day of a letter that he delivered. It's really got nothing to do with the trespass warrant that was issued on May 30th.
The reason I was given the cease and desist order to him was because he trespassed a journalist.
Okay, how does that relate to what we're here today?
Well, okay, you want to move past the cease and desist order, but you acknowledge I gave you that.
Yes, sir.
Was I recording that day?
You had a recording device on you. Whether or not you were recording, I do not know.
Was it blinking?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you trespass me that day?
No, sir.
Why didn't you trespass me that day for recording?
No disruption of business, sir.
I didn't disrupt business that day?
You did not.
Did I stand in the same exact spot as I did last time?
What time are you referring to?
When I served the cease and desist order,
Yes, sir.
was I standing next to the gatekeeper just like I was when I was trespassed?
The current time? The May
When I
30th
served the
time?
cease and desist order, was I not standing in the exact same place as on May 30th?
I don't recall.
Where
sir.
was I standing?
You were near the gatekeeper. I don't know if it was the exact place, sir.
Did we speak on the phone that day?
I don't recall if we did.
Did I not call you and ask you to come and have a few minutes with me? I wanted to talk about your video recording policy.
I don't recall. I get a lot of phone calls. I deal with a lot of people every day, sir.
And you did come and talk to me
I certainly remember.
with
that.
several of these guys. Who are the guys with the khaki pants and black shirts? What are they?
They're safety agents, sir.
Is that like security?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are they armed?
Yes, sir.
Oh, they are armed
Yes, sir.
with lethal?
Yes, sir.
So they're armed with lethal firearms.
Yes, sir. As revenue officers, sir.
Okay, I had no idea. They're not open carrying, correct?
Of course not. That's not legal
What's not legal, sir?
to open carry.
Are you making a legal conclusion?
To my knowledge, yeah.
Is it legal to open carry if you own a pawn shop?
Object irrelevant.
He's claiming open carry. He's claiming open carry is not legal, and that's why they conceal their weapons.
It's not relevant to what we're here today.
Well, the relevance is that they have ability to use lethal force against me, which I had no clue.
I don't think there's any testimony of that.
Okay. Okay. Cease and desist. On the day we came into your tax collector's office, how many of us were there?
Which day are you referring to, sir?
May 30th.
There were believe 2 people to my knowledge.
And who are those people? Are they both here?
I did see Mr. Huffman. He is here, and it was you, sir, as
Is
well.
Mr. Huffman the gentleman that looks like a caveman over there with the big beard?
Yes, he's the one they're reporting.
Was this sign on your door? That's Exhibit G. Was this sign on your door that day?
I believe it was, sir.
Can you read the first line there?
You are now entering a private area.
So is the tax collector's office a private area?
I'm not an attorney, sir. I can't answer that question.
Who made the sign?
That sign was created by a former attorney in our office.
A former attorney created the sign.
He didn't create it. He wrote the policy that created it.
And who created it?
A former attorney.
And who made this sign and put it on the front door?
A company that makes sense.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact
Is
name.
the public lobby a public place or a private place?
That's a legal question, sir. I can't answer that.
Is the general public allowed in the public lobby?
Yes, sir.
So it's open to the public.
Yes, sir.
It is a public lobby.
Depends on what you define as a public
A
lobby.
place where the general public is allowed to be.
Sir, again, I'm not an attorney. I cannot answer the question of whether or not that is a fully public lobby based on the...
Is the general public allowed to go inside that public lobby?
He's already answered.
He doesn't know?
No, he said yes.
Oh, yes, the general public is allowed.
Yes.
So it's not a private area as it says on your sign.
Yes, sir. That's a question. That's a legal question. I do not have the ability to answer that. I'm not an attorney.
Am I understanding this right, sir? Because he's saying it's public, but the first line here says it's private. This is one of many discrepancies.
Would you like me to just provide clarification?
Sure.
So whether or not an individual can enter into a public area and whether or not that area is fully public are 2 different things based on our burden to have to keep certain things private from the public, such as social security numbers, driver licenses, things of the sort that we fall under the burden of the Driver License Privacy Protection Act to make sure that that is not compromised to other people in the office.
Does that answer your question?
So it's not a private, the public lobby is not a private area.
Is that a question?
Is the public lobby a private area?
I can't answer that question, sir. I told you that is a legal argument to be had.
Mr. Mayor, the county stipulates, the sign says you're entering a private area. As to the rights of the public and to what extent is it a public forum, is it not, I have to object that this witness is not an attorney. You really can't comment on that.
Do you stop everyone from coming into that private area?
We have on occasion, sir, yes.
Do you stop every person of the general public to enter the front doors of this private area?
We have in the past, sir, in certain
You stop
circumstances.
everybody?
Yes, sir.
And what, for what reason?
During the times of COVID, we did
Okay.
stop everybody coming into that area.
Outside of a pandemic, have you ever stopped all the public from coming in that private area?
All the public, no, sir.
So how do you choose who gets to come in and who doesn't enter this private area
Based on their conduct and based on our policies.
based on their conduct? So basically, any citizen can walk in there. There's no metal detectors. There's no security guard, right?
We certainly have security agents, safety
There's no
agents.
security guard manning the front door.
Not all the time, but typically we do have.
So do you have a security guard wanding?
No, sir.
Metal detector?
No, sir.
Is there any x-ray?
No, sir.
So anyone from the general public can walk in there as long as they're not screaming, yelling, disruptive, doing anything illegal, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Is this sign still on your front door?
It is not, sir.
Why was it taken down?
Because we felt it to be more relevant to impress to the public that we're more concerned about their private information and our responsibility to make sure that we protect it.
And who's the onus on to protect private information?
It is on us.
The onus is on you, correct?
Yes, under the Driver License Privacy Protection Act.
Correct.
This is on us.
So do you believe the Driver's License Privacy Protection Act has nothing to do with the general public? The general public it has nothing to do with the general public recording in public. The onus is on you to keep secure the information in the motor vehicle database.
Yes, and the actions that we have to take to make sure that happens.
But the actions cannot violate somebody's constitutional rights, can they?
I'm not an attorney, sir.
So you don't know any constitutional rights and how they're applied.
I do, but I'm not an attorney to speak to that.
Generally speaking, have you read the Constitution?
Yes, sir.
Generally speaking, you understand what free speech is and assembly?
Probably in generalities, yes.
And generally, you understand what free press is?
Generally, yes.
Okay, and you say the onus is on you to keep that information private under the DPPA.
In the narrow scope of the DPPA, yes.
Right. It's not for me to keep that information private.
It is our responsibility to make sure that information is kept private.
Right. It's your responsibility. So, you just built that building not too long ago, correct?
That building has been there since, I believe, 2000 and, actually it was built, I believe, in the 90s. That used to be the old health department.
So was it like refurbished or something?
Yeah, it used to be the health department. We did refurbish it, and the county gave us the building. And
How much money went into that?
Operation.
Objection relevance. Yeah, more sustaining that, other relevance to.
Okay. Who designed the building?
Objection relevance.
The relevance is, the big issue in that public lobby is that the public's far too close to where interactions are taking place. And they could take steps to protect private information. Since the onus is on them, they could take architectural steps, put up a wall, make the glass a certain way. There's at least 100 ways, there's 100 ways to skin a cat. There's 100 ways to keep that information private without literally calling the police on a person engaged in free press. That's the relevance. And that's why I asked about the building being remodeled.
Okay.
Was constitutional concerns put into the thought when it was being refurbished?
We hired an architect, sir, to go ahead and do that. I'm sure they follow all relevant law. I do not know.
Right, they follow architectural laws. Did you tell them that you need the place to have a semi-private area so we can protect the information of the general public?
I don't recall.
I
I was not involved in the renovation.
You were not involved, okay. Would you say, have you talked to anybody on the phone or anybody in person who told you, or you have told to, that it's an architectural issue more than anything?
No, sir.
Okay, do you see the architectural issue?
No, sir.
How far away are the chairs from people conducting their business?
I can give you an exact measurement, sir.
Approximately.
10, 15 feet.
Are there some within 10 feet?
I don't know exactly, sir.
Right, not exactly, approximately.
I could agree with that.
Is that within earshot?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay, so am I allowed in there with a pen and paper?
Yes, sir.
Now, somebody, one of your clerks is taking information from the motor vehicle database and they recite it to the customer. What's keeping me from writing it down?
Nothing, sir, but that's not our policy.
I'm sorry. What's keeping me from writing it down?
Nothing, sir.
What's keeping me from having a photographic memory?
Nothing, sir.
So if I remember information that you have the onus to protect and you give it to someone within earshot of the general public, who's violating the onus at that point?
Could you repeat the question?
The onus is on you to keep the information private.
Correct, according to...
But yet your public lobby is set up to where almost every clerk is within earshot of the general public. There's no partition, right?
Yes, sir.
Would you consider that an architectural issue more than...
I would not. I would actually consider that a procedural or a policy issue, meaning that our clerks would be informed to make sure that if they're going to transact anybody's private information, driver license number, social security, anything that would be sensitive, we wouldn't do it in an audible fashion. We would write it down.
Okay, so let's say a clerk writes down protected information from the motor vehicle database, writes it down, slides it over. Can I walk across and literally just look at every transaction going by? Just like this.
Theoretically, I suppose that's true.
If Matt approached, the clerks are here, I'm literally this far away. Can I just look at all the data information and just be like this and write it down? Since it doesn't violate your policy?
It does violate our policy.
Writing stuff down violates your policy?
Yes.
Oh, it does? How?
If we are aware of an individual in our office that is compromising people's personal information,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, that actually violates a series of policies all the way up to the DMV.
Does it violate the law?
I'm not an attorney. I can't answer that question.
Well, but you can answer.
I'm assuming yes. I mean, if I go and steal somebody's personal information, then I have broken the law.
So just the gathering of information is illegal.
I don't know, sir. I'm not an attorney.
But you know who the onus is to protect the records.
I can tell you this much. I can tell you that that would violate our policy and violate DMV's policy if somebody was going through our office and obtaining people's personal information.
So someone's in there writing stuff What do you do about it?
If we are aware of that individual, then that individual would either be trespassed, or we would call the sheriff's office and make sure that that individual was questioned to see whether or not they were violating another person's private information.
But what evidence would you use?
What
Just the
evidence-
fact that somebody's writing?
No, we would probably pull video, sir.
Oh, so there is video.
Yes, sir.
Is that public record?
No, sir.
It's not public record? You can't get a redacted version of it?
No, you cannot.
Okay. You pull the video, okay. Does the Privacy Protection Act say anything about recording in public?
Not to my knowledge.
Does the DPPA have anything to do with the general public?
Sure.
And what jurisdiction does the DPPA have over the general public?
You're asking me legal questions, sir. I can speak to the policies.
You
we
said
have in
it. You
place.
said it does. Does the DPPA have anything to do with the general public?
Would you like me to expound on the policy and how it ties
No, just answer it, please. Does the DPPA have anything to do with the general public?
in? Yes, sir.
What does it have to do with the general public?
Making sure their information is kept private.
Making sure the general public's information is kept private.
Correct.
Right, people you're transacting with.
Yeah, people that are in our office to
Right.
do business where those burdens of proof underneath the DPPA are covered.
Right. The DPPA is solely for you guys.
Yes, in accordance with who we interact with.
Right. You said the onus is on you to keep the general public's records private.
Yes, sir.
It's not on me to keep their records private.
Objection, he's got this line of questioning already.
Thank you.
You agree? Okay. So, you took down the sign from that day citing the Driver Protection and Privacy Act. And you took it down for what reason?
We took it down because we feel as though the existing policy that we have posted in the office is sufficient. We replaced it with something that speaks to the importance of our office keeping an individual's personal information private.
So, can you read this new sign here that you guys put up? Is this the sign you replaced it with?
Yes.
Am I good, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I was just making sure before he handed it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Down in his
I've seen it in person.
New
I
sign.
didn't know he was in that museum today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nice and loud, please.
That's fine.
Are we good? The new sign reads, the Pasco County Tax Collector's Office prohibits video, audio, photographic, and any other form of recording within its office for the safety, privacy, and protection of our personal information of our customers. Sorry about that.
Okay. And this is the sign you replaced. Is the DPPA written on there?
No, sir,
Why did you leave the DPPA off this time?
because we took a different approach.
Mr. Felix, can I take a look at that?
I'm sorry?
Can I take a look at that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You intend to admit any of these as evidence?
Sure, you can read evidence.
Well, it's up to you.
I mean, I honestly don't know the best course of action. I'm just kind of winging it, as you can probably tell. And just to compare, you are now entering a private area. No photography, video, audio. According to the Privacy Protection Act, which has nothing to do with recording in public, it only has jurisdiction over the employees. The onus is strictly on them. This new sign, 0 laws written on there. It's just a sign. Like, again, who makes the sign? Who decided to make the sign?
Which sign, sir?
The current one.
The current one on there was myself.
You made this.
I developed the policy, or it's not really a policy, I developed the new language on it.
These are your words.
That probably in accordance with our paralegal as well, probably took a look at it.
You ran that through a paralegal?
Yes, sir.
Did you also run your video recording policy through a lawyer or paralegal?
No, it came from a lawyer, sir.
Did you ever state to anyone that you did? Where'd you say it came from? I'm sorry.
It came from an attorney from Manatee County.
It came from an attorney.
Yes, sir.
What's the attorney's name?
I'm not sure if it's on staff at Manatee County or on contract with Manatee County Tax Collector's Office.
Okay, I have videos, again, I have a video clips where he says,
Objection, any proper impeachment.
I don't know what that means.
I'm going to give some flexibility. Go ahead. Just go ahead.